Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Dragon Age Inquisition with Chaos Counseling. How are you doing? Oop, sorry, let me adjust. How you doing, Endangered? It's nice to have you here for what might be the last stream for Dragon Age Inquisition. But yeah, this one, I think, in terms of like the number of streams, well, I've already done that, so that's fine. But I think in terms of like the number of streams, this series has gotten close. Honestly, just waking up. You know, it's totally fine, Endangered.
Thank you, Your Holiness.
Oh,
Now, Artigan, as to your concerns,
The Inquisition established an armed presence in Ferelden territory. You outright seized Caer Bronach in Crestwood.
I mean, yes, there's nothing about what Tegan is saying right now that is untrue. And honestly, it's understandable. But like, in terms of number and,
our goal was to keep more Ferelden citizens from dying, not to seize power.
Your help was appreciated 2 years ago, Inquisitor. Now order has been restored, yet you remain.
again, I actually...
Invading under pretext of restoring order is exactly what the Grey Wardens did to us centuries ago, and we exiled them. Now the Inquisition is doing the same thing with Grey Wardens in their ranks.
Again,
Your
honestly...
concern is ill-founded. The Grey Wardens have proven their worth time and again.
Of course, Orlais tolerates this interference. Without the Inquisition, Celine would have neither her throne nor her elven marquise.
Rest assured, Tegan, the Empire of Orlais will not stand idle if the Inquisition oversteps its bounds. Unlike Ferelden,
Again, honestly,
however,
Tegan
Orlais
has
understands
a
that
point.
these were the well-intentioned mistakes of a young organization.
An organization in need of a guiding hand. Yours, no doubt.
Pardon me, Inquisitor. Divine Victoria wishes to speak with you in private.
Yeah, you know, it's right. Let's see. I always saw the Inquisition as a better safe than sorry to keep them around as an ally. You know, for real, I do have to agree. Like, again, I do kind of, like, Tegan does have a point, especially since Ferelden is the one who had to basically fight off the Blight alone. And within Tegan's lifetime, they had... Because, like, the war to expel Orlais from Ferelden happened during Tegan's lifetime, so... I'm not saying this type of behavior is acceptable as a whole. I'm just saying it's understandable, because... Let's be real, this kind of behavior in real life is what leads to constant bigotry over stuff that has nothing to do with the people in question. See, reducing the holding, sure, but don't necessarily operate in the shadows. Yeah. Sorry. I never finished this, but in terms of numbers, this is probably going to get close to my Dragon Age, or my Baldur's Gate 3 live stream series, but...
Once your spy master. It's a pressing matter, your worship.
My apologies. An urgent matter has come to my attention. Ambassador Montellier, can you handle this for a short while?
Of course, Inquisitor.
This is highly irregular.
Yeah,
Perhaps it would be best if we took a short recess.
Again, I really like the way, like, Liliana, just, that outfit looks like it was made for Liliana. It looks good on. I mean, because I've only done this DLC one other time, because I haven't... Ugh, wow, I'm tripping over my words hard, and I apologize. Cassandra was... Yes, I went through painstaking effort to make sure that I softened Liliana and made sure she was the Divine, because that is the best outcome, in my opinion.
The guard said we should go see this. I believe she was correct.
A Canary warrior in full armor. How did he get into the Winter Palace?
Liliana is the only one I haven't gotten as the Divine. It's because she's the hardest to get as the Divine. Like, hell, the first time I attempted it, I accidentally, like, so the only reason I've only done this DLC one other time is because this is only the third time I've played through Inquisition with this DLC. The first time I played through, I got Cassandra. The second time I was playing through, I accidentally got Vivian. I'm like, I don't want to play through this DLC with Vivian as the Divine, because she's the worst choice you can get as Divine. But yeah, I did my very best to try to make sure I got a softened, almost always soften the Liana. I agree, because honestly, if you don't soften the Liana, I actually would argue she is worse than Vivian in some ways.
We need to find out what's going on. Can Josephine manage the diplomats while I look
Oh
around?
god, yeah, she really is.
She
even
will
if
be
I
fine.
understand the argument
It's
to
all
make
speeches and posturing
a
for the
mage
first
divine.
few
Well, the
days
problem
anyway.
with Liliana
I'll
is
extend the recess
not
as
Liliana,
long as
Vivian.
possible.
Yeah,
I
she
will
might be a
also allow
mage,
friends
and
ready
while that's
themselves for battle if need
progress, she does
Because our
everything
blood-
in her power
I think the
to
Exalted Council may be more exciting than we expected.
undo the progress that the mages have made over the course of the 3 games. Sorry, I'm going to just finish this. Numerically, this stream is going to rival my Baldur's Gate 3 stream in terms of numbers of streams, as well as length of streams, because, like, for example, there was a ton of streams for God Eater 3. I think we got to like 14, but some of those streams barely reached an hour because I like God Eater 3, but I only have the patience to play it for so long, you know? So like if all of those streams had been like 3 to 5 hours like I've been able to do with this and Baldur's Gate 3, then those streams probably would have only been like, that probably would have been only like a 3-episode series or something like that. I can't climb these, can I? But yeah, like, because the reason I hate Vivian so much is, again, despite the fact of her being a mage, she's the one who institutes, like, the harshest stipulations on mages once the... okay. Who exist the harshest stipulations and rules put back on mages after the fact. And it's because since, and this is something I've brought up, yeah, she was raised in the circle, but because she was the mistress of a noblewoman, of a nobleman, she comes from a place of extreme privilege. So yeah, she's like, oh, this needs to happen, and oh, don't worry, I'm a mage, so I get it. But she has never truly known the true oppression of the circle. Anyway, I'll read what you said. Vivian is a traditionalist. Never understood since the way she lived as a mage is heavily against the traditional mages were ever treated. She was treated like a mage nobility. Exactly, and that's why I can't stand Vivian. It's kind of like, you know, people, like, just as an example, all of my obnoxious coworkers at work who are like, black people need to stop complaining. They're not really oppressed. In fact, they're more racist than white people. And I would know because I had a hard life, young youth too. I'm like, no, you didn't have a hard youth because, yeah, you may have lived in some poverty. You may have had to start working on your grandpa's farm at a very young age or whatever. But you still had a big family farm with a lot of land that you could live on, that you could run around and be free on or whatever. While, you know, some people of color have had to grow up in, like, inner city slums with cops constantly assuming that they were up to something merely because of the color of their skin. I'm like, it is not the same thing. It is not... Oh, wait. Can I climb? There we go. I don't know why I didn't see this. Like, it's not an equal equivalence. It's like, yes, I'm not trying to invalidate their experiences, but I'm like, it is not the same thing, and you cannot, plus you can't tell someone else whether or not their, experience or hardships are invalid, oh, that's, well, I don't care what that is. I'm not, I think that's another mug. And that's my beef with Vivian, is that she has come from such, despite being a mage, despite being going to the circle at such a young age, she did ultimately become the mistress of that nobleman so early into her career in the circle, that she's, again, and the fact that she was in the Orlesian circle with Empress Celine, who we have seen, given how she's appointed, as she appointed Morgan, an actual, position of authority in the Orlesian court, that she's clearly a more progressive divine. No, it's, no. I call bullshit, because it's like, she is not someone who's actually experienced the true horror that other people have, I mean, I hated Vivian so much it took multiple playthroughs before I even put her in my party. Yeah, the only time she has ever been in my party was is when I learned about because in my first playthrough I couldn't figure out how to get the Inquisitors specializations, because I didn't realize you had to craft them at, I think, the requisition table or whatever. So in my first playthrough I didn't get a specialization. But when I learned about them, I was like, oh. And because in my second playthrough, it doesn't help that one of my favorite characters is Sarah, and she's a bitch to Sarah. Well, she really is. And I mean, to be fair, Sarah is a bitch back, but quite frankly, this is one of the cases where I am somewhat on Sarah's side. Don't get me wrong, regardless of how you feel about Solus, I don't like how she's a bitch to Solus simply because he is a more traditional elf, Because again, I don't have a problem with Sarah rejecting the idea of why do I as an elf have to spend the rest of my life moping and doping that our species isn't what it used to be. Honestly, it's a valid point, and I think Sarah is right to be frustrated that all elves, especially Dalish elves, act that way. But she doesn't need to completely piss on it and be a bitch, especially to the elves who were in the service of Mythal, to be like, oh, they wasted their lives. Why? Well, because Mythal can't exist because I don't believe in Mythal. Again, let's see, Solus doesn't respect her opinion, so she continues to be rude to try to get him to leave the fuck alone. That's fair. I will give you that one. I think my point is better served in regards to talking about the elves in the Temple of Mythal, because, I mean, to be fair, they never, interact with her one-on-one or whatever, but...
The blood trail leads to this mirror.
Yeah. It's but anyway, yeah. But yeah, since I was playing I played a mage first, and I didn't know how to get a specialization, so I didn't. But then when I was playing my second playthrough and I learned how to get a specialization and realized, wait, I could have extensively gotten a lightsaber as a mage in my first playthrough, but I didn't. I threw Vivian in my party for a few fights just so I could see how that actually worked, because she's the one who has the subclass that gets that lightsaber, basically.
Elven ruins. I'm not sure we're even in Orlais anymore.
And I'm not going to lie, as someone, again, my first Dragon Age game was 2, and I initially went head over heels for Meryl when I was initially playing Dragon Age 2, though by the end I was definitely more in love with Fenris. Actually being able to travel through Alluvians and actually having Alluvians that worked was really cool to me, because it was like, oh, the Sarah or Meryl's goals were not flights of fancy like her clan wrote them off as. Let's see. Yeah, the Knight Enchanter is an interesting and apparently pretty broken specialization. Well, excuse me. It's the only specialization I do as a mage for the most part because... Oh, that's pretty. Because it's, well, it might not be the most powerful in some areas. It just melts armor. Like something that Abby found, and, you know, I've done too, that if you are fighting the dragons and they throw up their armor, that's fine. Just a couple swings from the lightsaber, basically, their armor just drops off. Let's see. Thinking about it, like, for Sarah, probably also also colored my opinion of Solus, though I never cared for him because he felt like at his own smug superiority. I mean, you're not wrong. Like, again, you are not wrong. And again, I really do want to emphasize, when I say that I like Solus and he's one of my favorite Dragon Age characters, I'm not necessarily talking about him as his personality, because honestly, I would... Okay, chaining controllers real quick.
If we want to know why they're here, we've got to get across to that island.
I am largely talking about him in a writing standpoint. I think he is one of the best, if not the best written characters in Dragon Age. Like, again, I still think, like, the best Dragon Age character is Varric, but Varric is a pretty straightforward, likable character. There isn't as much nuance behind his story. Not that he's not a nuanced character, but...
The elves bound a spirit here. It feels old. Very old.
What does it
But
want?
yeah. But yeah, I really do think that
I'll try Elven.
the best Dragon Age
And
character
Ryan
is Varric.
Atishan Severan.
It's just... He's more, like I said, he's more straightforward and to the point. He's just a straight-up likable character, and you know what? There is absolutely nothing wrong with that. I just think the way Solus is written, because I like him as a character. I don't think I could ever romance Solus. That's fair, but he's definitely a good character. Just speed run to punch Solus in the face. That's funny, actually. But yeah. What as someone who was raised religious, and was always taught, oh, you know, the God does things in his time, not man's time, or whatever, and it's like, just because God lets people suffer doesn't mean he doesn't love us, and other crap like that. A character like Solus, I mean, I've always liked characters like Solus in media, because it is interesting to interact with a character who does still have more human and realistic quirks, but does still look at the world in a different light. And part of the reason I like Solus is because, since Solus is a god, he would have a different perspective on life and reality. But what I also like, with some minor spoilers to Veilguard, is how we see it, in the end, he is still motivated by very human desires, even if he has a different way of looking at the world. Let's see. Varric is the best, legitimately. Have a pillow of the best dwarf head. Awesome. Good old two-handed spin to win. Oh, for real. It's like, if I play a warrior, I do almost always play a two-handed fighter. A two-handed warrior. Just because I find them to be a little more entertaining. And again, it's visually very fun to look, especially with that.
You
But
mean the ancient elves kept slaves? Maker's breath. One more thing never to tell Daisy.
This whole valley was a sanctuary created by the dreadwolf Fen'Harel. This doesn't make sense. In Dalish legends, Fen'Harel is our god of misfortune.
see, sword and shield is very good, but two-handed weapons feel... No, and I agree. And honestly, the only reason I didn't do sword and shield in this one, because I do like it, just to be clear, is because you already, of the 3 fighters, you already have 2 sword and shield users. So it's like, okay, there's going to be more equipment
This can't have happened too
for
long
me
ago. The blood's
if I
still
do
dry.
two-handed. Well, okay, I mean, I'd take all the good equipment first, but it's just... I guess, let me rephrase it, not for me. It's like, this way, it's like, I can more evenly just... It's like, okay, I get a two-handed weapon, and then Bull gets a two-handed weapon. So, I guess I should say there's more equipment being used. Again, this is very again, it's fun to come back to this DLC after Veilguard, knowing everything we do know now about Fen'Harel and the Evanuris in elven mythology, you know?
Ordinary guy saves people, accidentally founds religion. Sounds a lot like the chant, actually.
Fen'Harel sounds like quite the rebel. The old elven gods must have simply loved that.
You know, honestly, given that, you know, Varric just outright was like, oh, what Fen'Harel did sounds similar to the Chantry, it's part of the reason why I'm convinced that the maker in... Let's see, the DLC shows the Veilguard changed a lot in development. Oh, for real? No, absolutely for real. Which is, I think, another reason, and dare I say, like, again... I am speaking as someone who does absolutely love... Let's see, L2.
You're hurt.
I'm not sure. It stopped at least.
I miss the old name Dreadwolf, which is way cooler in name. I agree. Now, for the record, I understand the logic behind why they changed it, but I agree.
This looks like it fits into that pedestal by the broken bridge.
But, like, again, it's been a while since I've played through Veilguard, so I might be not remembering everything quite as well. But what specifically did you mean? Just to remind me, and just so we can... about how this, about how Veilguard changed in development. Based on, I like Veilguard 2, but it doesn't really feel like any of the other Dragon Age. Agreed. Like, that is the biggest problem I have with Veilguard, is it doesn't feel like a Dragon Age game. Because, like, Dragon Age Origins through Dragon Age Inquisitions, while each one changed things up, they all still felt like the same series. Like, each game felt like it's the same gameplay as the last game, just maybe with some new bells and whistles. But Veilguard just felt like it played and controlled completely differently, and well, I'm not saying that's a deal breaker, it is just a fact that it just felt very foreign to the series. But what was I saying? Solus, that I think Solus is actually the maker from the chant. Because again, I'm still convinced that Mythal is Andraste. But yeah, I am thoroughly convinced Solus is actually the maker from the Chant of Light. Let's see. Well, I don't even need to point out anything specific from Veilguard. People who bought the art book showed the amount of changes the game went through in development. It's been too long for me to point out. Okay, yeah. No, you're good.
Spend 2 hours there and you'll be glad to be shot at.
Here
Yeah.
we go again. What a change of pace from the Winter Palace. A clear sky, a beautiful view, and yes, fields and fields of stripweed as far as the eye can see.
No, that's where I can't. Right. Wait, or was it? Yeah, no, you're good. But yeah, it's... I get the itch, like, once a year or so to touch the Dragon Age as a whole. No, I get you. I have the same thing with Mass Effect. Dragon Age, because of just how different some of the games are from one another, it is a little... It's not a once-a-year thing for me. Also, just partially because of, you know, just having so many games I need to get through, and plus with streaming, I don't have as much time to just revisit games I like, because the stack of games that I have that I haven't even touched is ridiculous. Mass Effect I touch back on more often since it is a much quicker run through. Yeah, no, it is. I'm not saying that as a knock against Dragon Age or a knock against Mass Effect, but Mass Effect is much breezier to get through, since both Inquisition and Veilguard are 60-hour plus games, if not more than that. I mean, just case in point, yeah, I'm on like over 70 hours. Abby's playthrough, where she did like absolutely everything, was over 100 hours. But most of the except for Andromeda, you can beat most of the Mass Effect games in anywhere from 25 or 20 to 30 hours, depending on how much you do. So, yeah, it is a much breezier replay experience. You know, like I said, that's not a knock for or against Mass Effect, because, let's be real, as a busy adult, sometimes you're like, I want to replay something, but I don't have time to just pop it in and play it whenever. Let's see, especially as a Vanguard that feels like easy mode. Even though, yeah, as Veilguard feels, yeah, no, yeah, it's definitely, yeah, I agree with that. Like, I am kind of curious to see if my opinions of Veilguard change once I play through it a second time, because I do agree, gameplay-wise, it does feel a lot easier than other Dragon Age games. Because, like, for example, I'm wondering if, when I first played Fire Emblem Three Houses, I just booked it through... Actually, this is true with both Fire Emblem Three Houses and Fire Emblem Engage. They did 2 runs in quick succession in Veilguard. Lol. Hey, you know what? If you enjoyed it, there's nothing wrong with that. But, like, when I first played Fire Emblem, both Fire Emblem games, I just cruised through all 4 routes in Three Houses, and I enjoyed myself the entire way. And with Fire Emblem Engage, I played through the game pretty quickly. But when I tried to come back and play Three Houses just for fun, after just playing it for a little bit, I'm like, I'm actually really bored. Because Three Houses is kind of it's a mashup of, it is really easy at times. I mean, you can make it harder. Like, it is really easy at times, but it's also an issue of, it's really kind of tedious and really long. Like, it is the longest Fire Emblem game, and its gameplay is just not stimulating enough to keep me invested in more than one playthrough, despite the fact that I did, like, binge the game, like, all 4 routes in rapid succession, you know, when it first came out. Let's see, some games don't have great replayability but can still be very enjoyable. I agree. And then when, so Abby and I've mentioned that currently we're playing Castlevania with me playing the game and Abby watching. because she wants to experience the Castlevania franchise, but just isn't really good enough to play the games. I mean, I'm not really good enough to play the games. Like, of all the Castlevania, like, we are currently on Symphony of the Night, and I have not beaten a single Castlevania game that we've played. The closest I've got so far is the one that came first in the timeline, Lament of Innocence. But even then, I never beat Lament of Innocence because I could not beat Death, the final boss fight against Death. So we're like, okay, I've done everything else legitimately. Let's just watch a playthrough online. Or let's just watch the ending cutscene online. But when it comes to Fire Emblem, like, Engage, we started playing Fire Emblem Engage, and we got maybe 6 to 7 levels in. And Abby and I were like, this is actually really boring. Because, like, for those who don't know, again, I like Fire Emblem a lot. It was my second favorite video game franchise for years until Mass Effect replaced it as my second favorite video game franchise of all time. I still love it, despite the fact that I haven't loved any of the Fire Emblem games that have come out since Awakening in 2012. So, just to give you an idea, again, I think it was 2012. So, just to give you an idea, my third favorite video game franchise of all time has not released a game I've loved in 13 years. And what really sucks about Engage is when I first played it, I'm going to compare Fire Emblem Engage to Paper Mario the Origami King. Both are games that felt like the franchise was trying to return to form after decades. Well, okay, I guess it wasn't as long with Engage, or with Fire Emblem, but after decades of doing different things and doing with gameplay choices, I just did not really like. I love this mural. But the problem is, so Fire Emblem Engage is kind of a celebration of the franchise as a whole, because it has a character from, like, every single Fire Emblem game in it as a cameo, or as an emblem that you can basically morph into, Power Ranger style.
Solus said they were used to mark slaves.
The problem is that because they put so much emphasis on all 12 to 13 of these past character emblems or whatever, that the actual characters you can recruit end up being somewhat bland, because, let's see, I don't think I've ever tried a Fire Emblem. I'd love to recommend a Fire Emblem game to you, but I can't. Partially because, like, the Fire Emblem games I would recommend aren't available on modern hardware, because Nintendo have never... Oh, okay, the One Light. Because all the good Fire Emblem is awful when it comes to porting their, remaking or porting their games onto new hardware. Like, the one exception was they remade the very first Fire Emblem game, and it sucked. So when they remade the sequel to the first Fire Emblem game, they never translated into English. They then remade Fire Emblem Gaiden as Fire Emblem Echoes. That one was good, but it doesn't have great replay value. I'm a story-based RPG guy. Is the closest I can get of a game I've played of Fire Emblem is XCOM. And, well, the reason I love Fire Emblem, at least the older Fire Emblem, is that they are, despite being tactical RPGs, they are still story-based. Like, I love Fire Emblem for its story, but, again, not every... I have mixed feelings about tactical RPGs as a whole, but just to finish my thoughts on Engage real quick before I forget, is because there are 12 to 13 returning characters as emblems from past Fire Emblem games, and a pretty big cast, every character in Engage is bland and forgettable. Because the game was so focused on, hey, look at these old characters who are back, that the new characters, just outside of maybe one or two, just kind of feel like pieces of paper. Not to mention the main character, Alir, has one of my least favorite designs for a Fire Emblem character. And so one of my biggest beefs with Fire Emblem Three Houses is that I really do not like the main character, Byleth. Byleth is basically a Mary Sue / Gary Stu, because they are just generically written and everyone in the world just talks about how important they are. Now, again, to be fair, the reason they're a boring character is actually worked into the narrative, because for story reasons, they actually had their emotions stripped from them as a baby. So it is interesting. It's just, I just don't feel Byleth. The problem I have with it is that since Three Houses is the game where you play as a teacher, your students are often talking about, oh, how big of an impact you had on their lives and whatnot, and I just don't fully buy it, because I'm like, since Byleth is such a wet paper towel, let's see. Oh, which part? Like, what were you not expecting to hear?
A note about an unknown intruder coming through an alluvion.
But the emotions being stripped away for story. Like, no, I actually do appreciate that they work their they do work their lack of emotions into the story. Like, it's interesting. It's just, unfortunately, it does make for a bland playing experience. And again, and plus, the way that everyone talks about how indispensable Byleth was in their development as characters, I'm like, Byleth is not interesting to be able to get all these people to rally to them, if you know what I mean. It's like, when at the end of Radiant Dawn and people talk about how Ike changed everyone's lives, I buy it, because Ike is charismatic as fuck. But yeah, if you ever wanted to try a Fire Emblem game, he definitely doesn't sound like the type who'd build strong bonds. He's not. Like, it's supposed to be, well, I keep saying he, but Byleth can be either male or female, depending on what you want. But
now we have more, and they're hostile.
But Byleth...
This makes no sense. The Canary may not be friendly to the Inquisition, but they have no reason to attack us.
No,
They also have no
for the
reason
record,
here.
Three Houses brought a ton of new players into the Fire Emblem franchise because it did something completely different. Like, I feel like Three Houses was trying to be... So Fire Emblem did a crossover with Shin Megami Tensei, which, if you don't know, that's like the sister series to Persona, and Shin Megami Tensei actually came first. They did a Fire Emblem crossed over with Shin Megami Tensei and made the game Tokyo Mirage, which was basically meant to be a Shin Megami Tensei game / Persona game. Yeah, emotions are important, but with Fire Emblem characters. And they've supposedly been working on a sequel for the past decade, but nothing's been confirmed. Well, I feel after the success of Tokyo Mirage, well, success, I don't think, because it was on the Wii U, it was later ported to the Switch, but because it was on the Wii U, it didn't take the world by storm. Three Houses decided to do kind of a Persona approach. See, I've always wanted to try Shin Megami, but none of them are on Xbox. Yeah, they're all Switch exclusive. I mean, and if you don't have a Nintendo console, you can't try Fire Emblem. But yeah, oh wait, no, I'm thinking of Tokyo Mirage, not. Sorry, don't mind me. I'm an idiot. Yeah, sorry, I'm an idiot. But, I feel because of that crossover, they decided for Three Houses they wanted to bring in some elements from the Persona. I had to switch until some. Oh, motherfucker.
I will attend to the
That sucks, man. I am so sorry.
And while Josie does that, we will investigate. We, Your Holiness? You do, Josie?
I'll head back to the crossroads. We need to find out what the Kunari are doing and why they attacked.
And I'll have a quiet word with our honor guard.
So because of that, Fire Emblem Three Houses actually has some elements of like the day-to-day time management that is a staple in Persona series. Again, I really want to emphasize it's just some. Because it's definitely not as... Let's see, I'm less mad than I could be since I don't use my Switch that much. I mean, fair, but that's still a dick move. Okay, I'm actually going to bring Cassandra instead. Yeah, even her portrait hasn't changed. Again, maybe Cassandra's portrait only changes if you romance her. I don't know. But yeah, I'm going to bring Cassandra instead, just since I love having Cole, but as I feel it's kind of showing, having two rogues just kind of results in people's health just dropping too quickly, if you know what I mean. So maybe having two fighters will be have more longevity. I love the life sim stuff from Persona. Did you do all of Cassandra's personal quests? I thought I did. Like, I talked to her, like, everything, you know, I asked her about everything, and as far as I know, I did all of her personal quests, but that doesn't mean that I did. I mean, if some of her quests are missable, then it's very likely I didn't. But
Maybe the Kunari figured out a way to make
I mean,
it
given the
pass.
fact that if doing her personal quest is what changes her icon, it kind of clearly proves I didn't do all of her personal quests. But I even went out on my way to talk to her a little more than some of the other characters because I'm like, wait, why hasn't her icon changed yet, you know?
Let's see where our horned friends were headed.
But back to like Three Houses. The problem is that, let's see, I don't know, unless I've decided to romance Cass as it run, I sort of forgot about her. No, I feel ya. I love Cassandra, but more often than not, just because I prefer the options available for female Inquisitor over romance options for female Inquisitor over male Inquisitor. I usually don't play a male Inquisitor. So that just kind of means I can't romance Cassandra in general because she is straight. Yeah. Yeah. I know one thing I do really want to do is I do want to romance her, not have her be the divine, because there was that really funny scene in this DLC where she's like, oh, I heard you're getting married, I'm blah, 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 and it's like, Cassandra, I'm not getting married. Who told you that? Damn you, Varric! Let's see how they tease me with the first run because she approved a female Inquisitor flirting with her. I know. It's... For the record, I like that this game and, what's it called? And, why do I keep forgetting? Varric is a good name, and he really is. I love the fact that this game and Andromeda has a wide variety of characters. There are straight characters, there are purely gay characters, they're bi characters. I'm sure I'm using those... Did I say Origins? Sorry, this game and Andromeda. I'm But because it, and I mean, even in Origins, there are 2 straight characters and 2 bi characters, but
why?
it, for the most part, it feels like the bi characters are only there.
Once again,
No, I get you. I like it because it feels more real, and in a weird way, I feel it makes the representation feel more normal, because it's like, see, there's room for everyone in the world of Dragon Age, if you know what I mean, and in the world of Mass Effect. But I do also understand people's frustrations, because, like, again, like me, I do prefer playing the female Inquisitor, partially because I like the romance options better for female Inquisitor, but I also like the voice acting better for female Inquisitor. I mean, Zev and Liliana being bi both made sense to me. No, I agree. And I want to be clear. I am super grateful that BioWare pushed for bi characters. But as we've... So, if you've never... In Knights of the Old Republic, the character of... Shit, I forgot her name. The cat alien who you can say from the dark side. She was supposed to just be a pure lesbian character, but BioWare was forced to make her bisexual because being bisexual is less egregious than being just a lesbian, because, well, at least she can end up with a man, and it's not as sinful because there's hope for her and that kind of bullshit, you know? What's what I'm looking for? So, again, I am beyond grateful that Liliana and Zev are bisexual, but it does feel like the only reason why they didn't have any pure gay characters is because, well, let's see, God, I hate that old-fashioned BS. But yeah, I feel it's because of that old-fashioned BS.
Let alone one surrounded by Kunari.
Because I feel that Liliana is a hair more lesbian-coded. Zevran's 100% bisexual, though. Again, I might be projecting onto Liliana just because of how she and Majolin interacted with each other in Liliana's prequel DLC, but I digress. But in Veilguard and Dragon Age 2, I do actually appreciate, like I said, well, I do prefer the representation that everyone gets. I understand the frustrations. It's like, I prefer playing female Inquisitor, but that means I now can't romance Dorian or Cassandra. But by the same token, because Dorian is strictly a gay character, he ends up being great representation for gay men. And because Cassandra and Cullen are purely straight, it goes to show, yeah, this world is not trying to indoctrinate the youth and that BS. It's saying there's room for everyone, regardless of age, sex, gender, whatever. But again, I do understand the frustrations, because, I mean, like you said, the game feels like it kind of cock-teased you with flirting with Cassandra as a woman, but then she doesn't go for it. So, I understand and appreciate that in Veilguard, everyone's bisexual. So, Dorian, he's one of the best-written companions in Inquisition. I think he's one of the best-written companions in the entire franchise. Like, honestly, when it comes to companion characters from Mass Effect and Dragon Age and Knights of the Old... Just every game BioWare has made that has, you know, recruitable companions, I think Dorian is easily in the top 3. I have a hard time saying, like, who's number 1, because I guess it does kind of depend on what you're looking at. But Dorian's in the top 3.
Where are we? Why are there elven mirrors in the deep roads?
This place is close to something like a lyrium spring. The more we mine, the more there seems to be. As for the mirrors, I don't know. Maybe the elves were mining.
Like I said, it's one of those things that, well, I do prefer having a wide spread of representation, because it does feel more real, and it does feel genuinely more inclusive. Because something Valentine once said to me that actually has kind of stuck with me is, it's great that characters like Fenris, Anders, Isabella, and Meryl in Dragon Age 2 could all be bisexual. But if Meryl and Fenris are only bisexual if they're acted upon by the player character, it's not real representation. And it's because it's like the world didn't make it happen, you made it happen. So it's like that's a fair bit of criticism. I'll admit I get the reason she approves. Cassandra simply says it's flattering to get the attention and doesn't get mad at the flirting, so it's fun. She rolls with it. You know, totally fair. Totally fair.
All right, I'll try to
Now, I do give Veilguard some credit as well. Like, even though for the most part, like, what, just literally what I just said about, you know, that thing that Val said, that they're only gay, like, saying that everyone's bisexual so you can romance, yeah.
There's no telling how bad things will get when I destroy the mine.
What and how there it's not real representation if it only happens if the main if you as the player act upon it. But I do appreciate that in Veilguard, if you don't romance Nev or not Nev, if you don't romance Tosh or Harding, they can actually end up as a couple together, which I'm like, oh, that's cool. So it is still, I do still feel it does throw in some representation. So it's not as bad as other games. At least it's not as let me rephrase that. It's not as guilty of that thing that Valentine described. Wait, really? Tosh and Harding get together? Yes. I don't know if you have to do like specific dialogue options, but yeah, they can become a couple. Again, it's something that Abby got in her playthrough. I didn't personally see it because I romanced Harding. But yes, Tosh... No, I don't worry. I knew that was an autocorrect. Yeah. But yeah, they can be a couple. So, actually, quick question for you. In Danger, just since you haven't been able to tune in for a lot of my Dragon Age stuff just because of conflicting times when I stream. I romanced Tosh first and then Harding. They're the best choices in my eyes. Oh, really? Yeah, no, I like Harding. So admittedly, I was torn between romancing Nev or Harding in my first playthrough, and I did ultimately settle on Harding, especially since she's one of the few returning characters. Plus, I wanted to romance her so bad in the in this game, because I think it kind of sucks that it took till the 4th game for a dwarf to be romanceable, and it took until the 3rd game for a Kunari to be romanceable. It's just I'm not the biggest fan of the Iron Bowl romance. The Tosh romance, from what I've seen, is much better, but let's see. Like, to be perfectly frank, Tosh is... I love Tosh. I do not agree with the BS hate she got online. It is literally that. It's BS, and fuck anyone who said that Tosh was an annoying woke character. It's like, dude, let's see. What was that really good quote I heard? I'm like, being called woke in a world where everyone sleeps through injustice is not an insult. It's a flex. Let's see. The weirdest part is, I swear, in the game, Sarah and Harding end up together. Wait, really? Huh. I'm not saying I doubt you, but do you know where that's, like, referenced? Because I've never picked up on that. But anyway, back to what I was saying. As of right now, for my personal playthrough of Veilguard, the 3 characters I'm thinking of romancing are Nev, because Nev was one of the characters I was thinking of romancing in my first playthrough. Only this DLC? Okay. Okay, only this DLC. Is Nev, because she was the other character I almost romanced in Veilguard, but went with Harding instead. Balara, because, well, honestly, she's very Meryl-coded, and I love Meryl. I still prefer Meryl to Balara, but still, I like Balara well enough. and Davrin. Yeah, what do you think? Again, I'm not necessarily going to, you know, go off the suggestion. I still might go with my gut, but I would like to know, what's your opinion on those three? Like, which one do you think I should go with out of those three? Because, like I said, I romance Harding in my personal playthrough. Abby romanced Lucanus in her personal playthrough. That is how I know about the Tosh Harding thing. And, like, I thought about romancing Tosh, but I freely admit, and this is nothing against Tosh at all. This is everything about me. Oh, Devon needs some love, in my personal opinion. Nev and Lucanus have something going if you leave them all. Oh, really? And Belle, well, she doesn't really feel ready for... I agree. Like, part of the reason why Abby just can't get behind Meryl as a romance option into is she feels that Meryl is a little too infantilized in the romance. So she just feels like there's a power imbalance. And I feel the same thing can be said about Bellara. Yeah, like, don't get me wrong, I love Tosh, or not Tosh, I love, I mean, I do love Tosh, but I love Nev, and I really do want to see the romance, but I'm with you. I feel Davrin is, let's see, Meryl does at least a little better. Try Meryl right. No, I agree. That's why I do, yeah, no, if Meryl's your rival, she's absolutely ready for it. Like, the infantilization really only happens, well, it's, yeah, no. Point is, I agree with you. And I feel that's another reason why Meryl, or not Meryl, Bellara is a character I never could fully get behind, is because she does feel like a discount Meryl in a lot of ways. Not that I dislike Bellara. I really need to emphasize I do not dislike Bellara. It just, she feels like a replacement for a different character, if you know what I mean. Let's see, you can also romance the old man Veilguard if you want to. Be sweet. Oh yeah, Emmerich. That's actually, when Abby finally gets around to playing Veilguard again, she's going to romance Emmerich next. I like Emmerich. Honestly, like, one thing I give Veilguard some credit for, there's not a single companion I hate. There are some companions that I don't think are as good as the others, and I don't think any of the companions besides Harding, for me, hit the high points that well, okay, even Harding, as much as I love Harding, none of the Veilguard companions hit the high points that the best companions from 2, well, I don't think most of the companions, I mean, 2 just had such great companions, let's be real. But, like, the high points of 2, Inquisition and Origins, like, again, there are characters I dislike in 1 through 3. I don't hate them. I think the only character I hate might be Vivian and maybe Sarah. It just kind of depends on... My problem with Sarah is it just kind of depends on how I'm role-playing. Like, she has plenty of things about her I do despise, but... Anyway, so again, while I don't hate any of the companions in Veilguard, by any stretch of the imagination, I don't feel they reach the same high points that other great Dragon Age characters do. I agree firmly that the best of Veilguard don't compare to the best of the rest of the series. Yeah. Again, that doesn't mean there's necessarily anything wrong with them. It's just, it's not... You can tell that all the writers who worked on Dragon Age 1 through 3 are gone from the series because that snappy, well-written dialogue character, they're just not there. Isabella is great. So this is something I've seen a lot of discourse online. Isabella's design in Veilguard. What do you think? personally, I don't love it, but I also don't hate it. But then again, that's because I just absolutely love her outfit in 2. I love her we're now, like, the outfit change she gets into after you two decide to become a dedicated couple, you know? Like, it's a really good design and it suits her so perfectly. I feel it's something she would have put together as a semi-retired. I agree. Because initially, like, I've always been concerned that, Isabella, like, when I was first playing through, I have always was worried that Isabella wasn't proper LGBT representation. It was just some white, you know, some creepy old guy's lesbian porn fantasy. But now that after Abby has played it through the Dragon Age series and has genuinely come to appreciate Isabella and the characters as a whole, I'm less concerned about that. But I do admit but anyway, like, my initial thought was, it's like, oh, is this a good design for Isabella, or is this just more unnecessary fan service, you know? But as Abby pointed out, let's see, hold on. Yes, the golden clothes she wears shows off a lot, but she's always showed off her body and used her body to her advantage. Yes, I agree. Plus, as something Abby pointed out that didn't really occur to me, while it's like, when I was like, great, just more sexualizing Isabella, Abby pointed out, at that point in the series, Isabella is like in her 40s or 50s. So, isn't it actually kind of nice that an older woman is being allowed to be that sexy in a piece of media? And I'm like, holy shit, you're right. Like, again, it isn't something that occurred to me at the time, but yeah, actually, it is kind of nice that a woman who is older than 20 gets to dress up all sexy, you know, since our stupid media as a whole has, you know, gone out of its way to tell women that they lose their value once they turn 30. I didn't think about the timeline at all. No, like, again, it's easy to forget how much time has actually passed in between games, especially since, like, just case in point, Dorian, besides his facial hair being longer, I'm using Dorian because he's one of the few returning characters. Dorian and Harding, yes, their designs are different because there was a 11-year gap in between game releases, which means technology has changed and improved, and it's on a different engine and blah, 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 but it is still very easy to forget how much time passes in Dragon Age because of how little the characters tend to show it physically. Because, like, Dorian, Varric, and Harding, you don't really see the age on their faces between this game and Veilguard. Dorian also was pretty gray in Veilguard. That's true. But Isabella, again, she appeared in the very first Dragon Age game. And from the start of Dragon Age 2 to the end of Dragon Age 2, that's a 10-year gap, meaning that if Isabella was, say, in her 20s or mid-20s, you know, early 30s, she would be, you know, 35 to 40. Again, I'm just assuming I don't know her exact age in Origins, but I'll disagree on not seeing the age of Varric's face. Okay, fair enough. Again, I might just be saying that because I only played Veilguard once, and it's been a bit. So I might be, and since I've been playing this game, I might be transposing Varric's face from this game onto his face in Veilguard, you know? I will definitely say he definitely looks much older in Veilguard compared to how he looked in 2. That's for sure. I guess why Isabella looks so young is she's been a lot on lotions and like to keep herself young. No, I agree. But I do appreciate that if you look closely enough, you can clearly see that Isabella does have lines on her face in Veilguard, meaning that, yeah, they are letting her age. But, yeah, so Isabella would be 35 to, would be 30 to 40 by the end of Dragon Age 2. And then I think Inquisition takes place like maybe a year or two after that. So I'm going to say let's add 2 years onto that. So it should be 32 or 42. I don't know how long Inquisition as a whole is supposed to take, like over months or years. So let's just add another 2 years onto that just for good measure. So she would now be 34 to 44. Then there's a hang on, I'm going to look up how old is it. You know, yeah, just let's just do that rather than me trying to do... You know, I'm still going to do this just because it's an interesting exercise in thinking about how characters age. But then throw on an extra 2 years between the end of Inquisition and the start of this DLC. So that's another 2 more years. And then Veilguard takes place 10 years after the end of this DLC. So that is anywhere from, you know, she's aged, you know, potentially 40, you know, 24 to 25 years. Because I forgot to include that Origins, I think, takes place over the course of a year. So that is a significant amount of time for a character like Isabella who's been there from the get-go. Because, like, let's also just take Cullen real quick. Like, he's not in Veilguard because his voice... I mean, I don't know if he was ever supposed to be in Veilguard, but I know a factor was the fact that his voice actor is a bigot, homophobic douchebag. But, Cullen, I believe, was 18 or 19 at the start of the mage's origin in Dragon Age Origins. So, yeah. That means he would potentially be 38 to 40 plus, you know, come this game. Not this game, come to buy Veilguard.
That barrel already looks primed. We should see where that leads.
Although, I actually, like, just real quick, I will say, Endangered, you actually, even though I said I might still make my own choice, regardless of your opinion on the romances, you actually made a very good point about Davra not getting enough love, so you actually may have cinched my decision to romance Davrin in Veilguard. Oh, so I don't trust AI a lot, but the answer gave me pause. I'm gonna DM you the screenshot. Oh yeah, please do, please do. Yeah, I don't... AI can be a wonderful tool if used the right way. It's just... I don't like that it's being used to create art, replace art and creativity. And I also don't like the environmental ramifications that happens with AI. Okay. Here we go. Yeah, that AI is smoking crack. Yeah, no, I agree. We need better infrastructure before we really start using AI. Like, again, putting aside the ethical ramifications of it stealing work from artists and whatnot. Because, yeah, so... I can 100% believe she's 52 years old in Veilguard. But, yeah, there's no way she was 50 in Dragon Age 2, because we know for a fact 2 decades pass in between the start of Dragon Age 2 and Veilguard. And that's 2 decades at minimum. Because it, once again, doesn't factor in the 2-year time jumps in between Inquisition and this DLC. I mean, Hawk is supposed to be only 35 at the end of Dragon Age 2. Yeah. And for the record, I do believe Isabella is supposed to be older than Hawk. Like, I do genuinely think Isabella is supposed to... Because I think she's supposed to be that sensual, more experienced woman that young guys might fantasize of. Like, I'm not saying she's a cougar, but she does. I feel like that's sort of the energy. That's the energy, or at least cougar adjacent energy that they wanted from her.
Dragon's breath. The Kunari always enjoy their metaphors. But what does
I
it
could buy her
mean?
being like mid-30s at the start of Dragon Age 2. I could buy that too.
Moving through Illuvians to attack the south is bad enough already.
I still do not understand why they accused the Inquisition of serving Fenarel.
Corypheus set himself up as a god. Maybe someone who knows Elven history is doing the same.
But how does that implicate us? What made them decide that the Inquisition serves this Fenharel?
Hopefully we will learn more after we have stopped them.
Let's see the exalted
Oh yeah,
council
so
expand
apparently
its
the
influence
reason
safely
why
in this
Veilguard's
dragon's
name was
We must
changed
find
from
out
Dragon
what
Age
Dragon's Breath
Dreadwolf
is
to
first.
Dragon Age Veilguard is the
Now,
writers were
Elven
like,
is the Kunari
well, but the
goddess,
focus of the
Vidala.
game is supposed to be on the characters, not the villains, so they wanted to call it
My apologies.
Veilguard
Josephine.
instead.
There has been an
Which
incident
I
with
kind of
one
get,
the
but I also feel like we've been building up
How
Fenharel
dare
for a
you.
while.
It was bad enough that the Inquisition chose not to inform the exalted council of the Kunari Corps.
Ole would have been happy to help with the matter.
But now your own guards are attacking servants? You have overstepped your bounds.
Wait, what are you talking about?
Thank you for bringing this to my attention, gentlemen. I'll see to this personally.
Thank you, Inquisitor. Ole stands ready to assist the Inquisition, as always.
I mean, I kind of...
Secrets and lies. Do you understand why we fear your Inquisition? You act as if you're the solution to every problem. How long before you drag us into another war?
Again, I want to be clear, I understand Tegan's concerns, but I feel he's being kind of a dick here. Okay, looking deeper, people in place Isabella is 30 to 35 at the start of 2, 40 during Inquisition, which she's a playable
What's going
character
on
for
here?
the old multiplayer. Yes, I did know
Your
that.
legions tried to take one of our people, Inquisitor. We've secured the area.
This is the Winter Palace. You cannot simply seize control when one of your guards attacks a servant.
Yeah,
The
no, I kind of have to
Inquisition is
agree.
handling this. When some noble commits a crime of fashion, you can take over.
Okay, no, we're kind of overstepping a little bit.
And when I refused to bow to the Inquisition's dogs, you attacked me. How would you like us to handle the situation, Inquisitor?
That barrel there, where did it come from?
I was ordered to bring wine for the guests.
You're lying.
Your Inquisition soldiers are completely out of control.
No, we're in control. Keep talking and you'll find yourself in chains.
No, stop it. You guys, you're spraying yourself with the perfume of fascism. The problem is that barrel very clearly looks like a Gatlock barrel. Sorry.
I apologize for my guard's actions. My people will take her into custody with your permission.
As you say, Inquisitor, Lord Cyril will hear about this.
Inquisitor, I also found this by the barrel. I can't read the language.
And people are claiming Varric is 40 during Dragon Age 2. I don't buy that, but I could buy that.
Did you resolve the problem with the guard?
The guard is the least of our problems. Someone smuggled Gatlock barrels into the Winter Palace.
Smile, Inquisitor. There are many eyes upon us. At least now we know the true extent of the dragon's breath.
How are you still smiling?
Years of training as a bard, Inquisitor. We cannot show weakness now. Enemies could be watching.
Fair enough.
Or we can let them seize idle conversation between two friends.
You think the dragon's breath is these Gatlock barrels?
People,
Of course.
do we
A
know how
surprise attack,
gracefully
even
dwarfs
through the
age?
Illuvians,
No,
would
not
make
really.
less
I mean,
resistance. But if everyone
one
at the
kind of
Exalted Council died in an
annoyance
explosion,
I do
the
have
would be rudderless,
with how the dwarfs are
vulnerable to
handled
attack.
in Dragon Age, like, narratively, I appreciate the fact that Orzammar is the last remaining dwarven city, because it makes sense with the Darkspawn overrunning the Deep Roads. That's interesting lore. The trade-off is it's really resulted in a severe lack of dwarven representation across the franchise, since we never get to go back to Orzammar after the first game, you know? So we don't have a ton of context. Because I think the only elderly dwarves we really got to see were Bodane in 1 and 2. Ooh, and in 1 and 2, it's kind of, because of how old the graphics are, it is kind of hard to really see age lines on them, you know?
Good.
And then the elderly dwarfs in Origins, but they didn't also have very many lines on their face. It was, once again, more it was conveyed through the gray hair, you know? Because, again, just real quick right there, I feel Tegan is a little justified being upset that we didn't inform anyone that there was invaders to the Winter Palace. Again, I feel that is a valid enough frustration. Like, I'm not dinging him for that, but being like, you think you're the answer to every solution or whatever, I'm like, well, we don't necessarily think we're the answer to every solution. It's just, this is a problem that is coming for the Inquisition specifically. So it's like, of course we're going to handle it. Again, I see his point, but I'm also, not the biggest fan of just, it's not me how much Tegan changed since Origins. Exactly. That's where my problem is it just feels like, Tegan was a level-headed individual who could think rationally, you know? But in this, he just feels like kind of an aggressive twat who, then again, since according to the developers, Hardened Alistair is the canonical one, it's probably Tegan got worn down having to work with, you know, Alistair being, you know, just, again, a much more aggressive twat. He doesn't feel like the warrior noble he was. He feels like a lazy noble who doesn't know how fighting works anymore. Yeah, I kind of have to agree with that. He does kind of come across a bit more like an Orlesian noble person who's upset that someone is impeding on their whatever. Oh, fuck off on hardening. Oh, I agree. I don't mind having hardening as an option for, like, role-playing. Like, honestly, in many respects, I do think it adds some interesting, it adds some interesting, options for role-playing in Origins. I just hate the fact that regardless of how you chose to play through Origins, that is how Alistair will always be. He'll always be hardened.
May God be with you.
I mean, because it's kind of the same thing with Liliana. It's interesting, but a hardened Alistair is shit as king. I, once again, couldn't agree with you more.
Will it matter?
Because, like, well, to be fair to Liliana, she does still seem kind of chipper in her brief appearance in the Dragon Age 2 DLC. It's not until we get to this game that she is well and truly hardened, but you could make the argument that it was more just the death of Justinia that pushed her this far. Plus, you can bring her back from not being hardened, which is nice. Let's see. Hell, why give us the keep of hardening Alistair? Yeah, why let us... No, I agree. I agree completely. Like, I love this series, and I know that this, like, Dragon Age has had some issues that held it back compared, like, Mass Effect did not, like, the reason why Mass Effect does still feel like one continuous narrative that still, let's see, or Liliana hardening herself as a divine spy master. Very hard job. Exactly. Like, Liliana being hard, and I mean, yes, I know being a king is hard and stressful, but I just don't like that regardless of what you did, Alistair is still kind of a dick by the time you see him again in Inquisition. If you see him again in Inquisition. Actually, ironically, if Alistair stays with the Grey Wardens and he's the one you interact with instead of Stroud, he's actually a lot happier and kinder.
An alluvium marked by a bookshelf. This should be it.
Let us get answers from this Vidasala.
But, like, Mass Effect was always kind of planned to be a continuous story. Dragon Age wasn't. And unfortunately it does show. I mean, he did love being a warden. You're not wrong. And I also admit, it does make the choice between Stroud and Hawke, well, the choice between the Warden and Hawke more meaningful if it's someone you actually know. Because I understand that the developer's canon is that the Warden died defeating the Archdemon, and Stroud is supposed to, like, the main character of the Awakening DLC is technically supposed to be Stroud. So it is kind of the developer's way of making you choose between your past protagonists. It's just Stroud, you don't spend enough time with Stroud to really get to know him, so it never was much of a choice. It's like, I'm going to save Hawke over Stroud any day of the week because I don't know Stroud. Hello, Muffin. I would love a chimichanga. So yeah, having Loghain or Alistair there instead of Stroud does make the choice a little more interesting. I just don't like doing it because I don't like the idea of Anora being queen by herself.
I will speak so your guests understand. I am study. I am a learning thirst. Come, know what has not been lost. New words, new stories. The Kunari would not approach, but we
Did you say Alistair? Correct.
If you wish to exchange knowledge.
Yeah, I love me a good chimichanga.
We'll be going now.
Yeah. I recommend them. I mean, they're basically just a burrito that's been deep fried. I mean, there's more to it than that, but that is kind of the best equivalent I can make. I don't even know what a chimichanga is. Well, I'm glad I was able to just answer it preemptively. Like, again, there's more to it than that. You basically, you know, you get a corn tortilla, you stuff it with, and it does need to be a corn tortilla because of how, the different types of, how tortillas react while they're being deep fried. But yeah, you basically, you make a burrito, deep fry it, and you can then just eat it like that, but normally then you top a chimichanga with sauce. Because, like, when I used to work at the hospital, we wouldn't make them from scratch. We didn't have time for that. But we would bring in, like, pre-made chimichangas that all I would have to do was fry them up. And then we would make, like, a pepper jack cheese sauce that we'd pour over it. Let's see, the only time I've heard about a chimichanga is from Deadpool. He loves the word because it's fun to say. You're not wrong. Like, that's one of the first times I heard about chimichangas as well, was from Deadpool. And again, it is a legitimately fun word to say, but it's also a legitimately really tasty food.
Did you notice? Your anchor is flaring up near magic. Elven magic.
What does that mean?
I'm not sure. Tell us if it gets worse.
Burrito. Heard of him. Burrito and throw in a boiling oil and then drink the boiling oil while consuming the burrito. I mean, that would make for an interesting obituary in the newspaper, but I have to legally say please don't drink boiling oil. Muffin, I don't think I take diet advice from you. I mean, let's be real. Do you really want to take eating advice from a sentient food? They're not gonna have your best interest in mind, because technically we are like the monsters who live under their bed. So just speaking of talking muffins, there is a... Well, first of all, let's acknowledge the hilarious talking muffin from Astaff movie. Sunshine had a joke that they would tell all the time when we were young. It's like, 2 muffins are sitting in the oven. One looks to the other and says, "Is it getting hot in here or is it just me?" The other muffin then screams, "Oh my god, a talking muffin!" Like, it was wonderfully silly, but it's a really great little kid joke, if you know what I mean. That doesn't just rely on, you know, bad puns or crude humor.
Welcome, welcome. Listen to the last words of those who lived past the world. How could the dread wolf cast a veil between the world that wakes and the world that dreams?
Oh, gotta love the kid style of jokes. Or then probably another joke that Sunshine, I don't know if they came up with it or heard it, but it's a very Sunshine-esque humor, is, what's yellow, runs on wheels, and eats grass? A bus. I lied about the grass. Kid style jokes are fun. I agree to an extent.
Oh, I knew this one apostate in Kirkwall you would have gotten along with like a house on fire.
After these past few years, it would just be good to create something magical that is also helpful for a change.
Is that wise?
If I get around to it...
It's like, the reason why I say to an extent, because I remember there were a ton of jokes that we would tell as kids that the joke basically was like anti-humor, that the humor came from the fact that the joke took forever to say. Yeah, all jokes are fun to an extent. And then the punchline was just such an anticlimax that you just kind of have to laugh, because it's like, that was awkward and I don't know how to respond to it, you know?
Can we trust this magic?
When I hear the name Alistair, I think of Alistair the Radio Demon. Okay, I don't know who that is, but... Yeah, no, there are plenty... Like, anytime I hear the name Lloyd, I can't help. I always think of Lloyd Irving from Tales of Symphonia. So, no, totally get ya. Hey guys, do you want to play croquet and eat cake? I love croquet and cake. Then the joke matters when you think about the outcome. That's true. I love groan-worthy puns, for example. Yeah, no, totally. But yeah, just a joke that I remember, and there were like different variations of this joke. The version I heard was, I mean, it was the same joke, but it was like a boy goes to is at school, asks to go to the bathroom. When he comes back, he sees that there's a piece of paper written on his desk, and the only thing written on it is red brick. And he's like, "Hey teacher, do you know where this paper on my desk came from?" She says, "Well, what does it say?" "Red brick." "Go to the principal's office, young man." And like, I've heard other versions of that joke, like instead of red brick, it's purple rose, but the joke's the exact same. But basically, every time, like, this joke takes a while to tell. It's like he gets sent to the principal. The teacher tells him to go to the principal's office. The principal's like, "What did it say?" He tells him it says red brick, and then it gets expelled from school, and then just more and more, like, he's disowned by his parents, he's thrown out of the country, so on and so forth. And he just never finds out what the word means until he's like in some foreign country, and he's told, "Oh, the person across the street can tell you what it means." And as they're going to finally find out what this term means that ruined their life, they get hit by a car and die. And it's like, moral of the story, look both ways before you cross the street. So it's just it's a massive anticlimax. But again, the humor comes from the fact that the joke was so painful to sit through that you kind of can't help but laugh in order to... It's like, I laugh because crying would hurt too much or something like that. I was the most powerful sinner in hell. Oh, is that another Has-Been Hotel reference?
Inquisitor, we must look at your hand.
It keeps coming back.
And heck, I think probably one of the most... Isn't the idea behind that knock-knock joke is that you can't go until you decide to say orange? Yeah, that's the same idea. Yeah, it's... Read my previous long chat message as well. I'll get more Alistair info. Yeah. Okay. But yeah, there's a type of humor, and I've always been very hit and miss on anti-humor. It's something that Andy Kaufman was an expert at. Norm Macdonald, may they both rest in peace, did this sort of thing, but I wasn't always the biggest fan of their humor. But basically, it's the type of humor that they extensively would torture their audience, in a sense, with stuff that is objectively not funny, despite the fact that your torment actually was the joke. It's very difficult to do, but I know one guy who does half jokes. Yeah. Like, I remember my older brother, like, one of the most ridiculously, you know, torturous jokes that worked this way. It was called the pink joke. It was basically a story about, like, 3 housing examiners came to visit this woman in her pink house to kind of just, you know, just inspect her house for different things. And it's like everything in the house is pink. So the joke is, it's like the inspector came up, drove up the pink driveway to the pink house, knocked on the pink doorbell. I know. And like, that's, again, that's the whole joke, is you painfully describe every moment that these inspectors spent inside this pink house, and you have to emphasize everything is pink. And then, okay then, can't do that. And then after each inspector leaves, they're given a bowl of cereal. And and then the joke at the end is like, what did we learn from this story? Is that 2 out of 3 housing inspectors prefer one brand of cereal to another. So it's like, literally, and like, when my brother first told this joke, it took like 10 minutes to tell the joke. Because again, the joke wasn't that the joke was funny. The joke is that he was torturing you with this long, repetitive bullshit for about 10 minutes. Let's see. Half jokes are a start to a joke, although without a punchline. A lawyer and a doctor enter a bar. Then awkward silence before starting a new joke. Yep. Where do I go from here? Because I don't know how to deal with that black fire. And so far, when the Dreadwolf's gaze is bright, light burns in the ring of the dead. Okay. Because again, I really, really want to be able to beat this DLC today so we can start... wait.
That should be enough stairs.
Well, I'm a dumbass.
The inverted alluvion now.
Oh, wait, no, this... I hadn't been down here yet. Never mind. I, for some reason, thought going down was going back to where I came from before. Because I really want to beat this today so that we can start... Just so we don't have to do, like, okay, let's do a quick, like, 20-minute to an hour-long stream tomorrow just to finish off Inquisition before we start streaming Yucca Replayly. And then once Yucca Replayly is done, because that one shouldn't take too long, then we can start Tales of Xillia Remastered. Oops. Wait. Hold on. How do I get out of here again? Is there an alluvion nearby? Oh, wait, right. No, right. I understand where I was getting mixed up. So yeah, we'll play Yooka-Laylee, then Tales of Xillia, then, I think then it will be another Sonic game, then a fan service game, and then we'll be back to Veilguard. I think that's the order I'm currently in right now. Because I seem to remember that I did one stream of Knights of Azure 2, and I'm like, I can't do it. Let's play Inquisition now because I need something. I need a game that I love and not makes me want to die. Like, I mean it. Knights of Azure 1 is not an amazing game by any stretch of the imagination. But it is a game that I still love, and I do still think is at least decent LGBT representation. It still's got fan service, but the character, the actual romance itself, it's just so sweet and pure. I can't hate it, you know. But the Knights of Azure 2 throws out any of that pretense. Is like, we're just gonna make every woman in this game as sexualized as humanly possible, and I can't stand that. That being said, that's the only one of the fan service games I've got that I have any, emotional investment in. So going forward, every other one of these ones should just be enjoyably cringy. Wow, men are pigs, if you know what I mean. So hopefully we'll have more fun going forward, you know?
They're the librarians.
Not good.
But yeah, when we actually get back to that, I'm going to be putting Shantae on the list, because I think Shantae is a great, adorable game, but I also can't deny that it does have a ton of fan service, all things considered. Always fun to poke at other men making stuff curvy when it's not needed. I agree. But, yeah, I legitimately, absolutely love Shantae as a series, so I am looking forward to revisiting that one. Or revisiting that series. But yeah, the games I'm hoping win the next, because I'll let you guys do a poll. I'll let you guys vote on which one you want me to do. And, well, there's plenty of games on there. I'm going to keep them all on there. I'm going to eventually play them all. The games I'm really hoping win are either Stellar Blade, Shantae, or a game called X-Blades. Not because I have any, personal investment in X-Blades. It's just one of the most poorly written, that's the game I had to turn off after the first 10 seconds because I was laughing so hard at how badly written the main character was. And I'm like, I need to, I can't go any farther. I need to just stream this game legitimately because we need to capture my genuine reaction to this bullshit. A game that I do still need to track down the Switch copy of because I also want to highlight some of its ridiculousness is a game called Code of Princess that was originally released on the 3DS.
Survivor of the Breach, Herald of Change, Hero of the South.
The Vidasala, I presume.
After fulfilling your purpose at the Breach, it is astonishing to hear you still walked free among your people. Your duty is done, Inquisitor. It is time to end your magic.
It's not too late to put our weapons down and talk.
There's no need to pretend that you're blind to what you've begun. I am no stranger to catastrophe, but this chaos in the South defies comprehension. The Qun left your people to curb your own magic. You've amply proven we should have stepped in long ago.
Then enlighten me about the Qun's plans for us.
Do you believe closing the breach solved everything? That its consequences stopped there? The day we saw the breach, the Qun decided its action. We would remove your leaders and spare those who toil. This agent of Fenharel has disrupted everything. Lives that were to be spared, lost for him.
Who is this agent? Why do you think they work for the Inquisition?
Kill the Inquisitor, then follow me to the Dargarad.
This is... I do not like the Qunari. And again, I just don't like fanatical religious people in general. But yeah. But this game is... Like, again, I need to get the Switch copies. Because I have it for the 3DS. But I need it for the Switch so I can actually stream it. It's kind of like a side-scrolling beat-em-up RPG that... honestly, from the get-go, I'm like, what the fuck? Like, my only interest in it has always kind of been, what the fuck is this? Because the game is called Code of Princess. The basic idea is that you're playing a princess who's on the run after her castle has been overrun by enemy forces and her family. I don't remember if they were slain or just taken prisoner. So it's like, okay, you're now the princess who's got to step up and become a warrior. The problem is that it's like her outfit. I'm like, why is she basically wearing a chainmail bikini? It's like, that'd be one thing if that was like her outfit she wore when she was now on the run, becoming a warrior. It's like, no, that's how she dressed when she was a princess. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like, what the fuck is this? But yeah, like I said, Shantae is a series I genuinely love. I mean, I've already streamed. I streamed the second Shantae game years ago. And honestly, I freely admit I'm not 100% sure why I haven't gone back to play another Shantae game since. Because I love the Shantae series. Well, I love every Shantae game except for the first one. It's just a little too dated for me to really get much out of it. The third one is my absolute favorite, followed by the fifth one. The fourth one it's fine. It's they abandoned the Metroidvania formula in favor of like a stage-by-stage progression, which it works fine. I don't like it as much, but it works fine.
It was for their non-Qunari spies.
Also, speaking of Shantae, there was actually a canceled Shantae sequel for the GBA that is actually finally getting released. It might actually be released now. I don't know. I just know that I pre-ordered the limited run physical print of the game, so that should be arriving, I think, in the next couple weeks, if not next couple months. So I'm excited about that. I would love to find on eBay like the physical prints that limited run did of the other Shantae games. It just, they're so expensive, you know? Because I'd love to have a physical print of the Switch copy of Pirate's Curse, because that's my favorite one.
I will join.
I found a keystone.
Yes, and you need words for that key. It glows. It will open the way to the Davara. In coming here, you strengthen the path. I can now raise one. If you wish to.
You've been very helpful.
Let's see, what's another... And I also would like a physical copy of Seven Sirens, or I think it's Seven Sirens, maybe it's Five Sirens. Just because, again, that's my second favorite Shantae game. And it never got a physical release. Well, okay, to be fair, I think only the first, third, and fourth Shantae games got commercial physical releases. The second one, I believe, was always like a digital release on like WiiWare and other online services at the time. And then the fourth one was kickstarted. Like, even though Shantae was like an official series before, it never sold well enough to kind of keep it going on its own. But they were able to kickstart Half Genie Hero, and the Kickstarter was like so successful that like there's like so many alternative modes in Half Genie Hero, and it's because the Kickstarter was just that successful. Because, like, there is, like, the normal mode, then there's the mode where you play through the game, but as Risky Boots, the main antagonist. Then there is, like, some other stupid modes, like, you play through the game, but now Shantae's also a ninja, so you get to play through the levels just with, like, a ninja move set, or Shantae's now, like, a cop or something, so you get to play through the game, but now you have, like, a laser pistol. Or then the hard mode, which I'm like, okay, this is clearly only there because perverts. Didn't Shantae, or however you spell it, always have a cult following? Yes, Shantae has always kind of had a cult following. That is how you spell it if you are curious. So the Shantae's problem, the first game released, it was one of the last games that released on the Game Boy Color. The problem is it released so late, I think, don't quote me on this, I think the Game Boy Advance was already out. So it ended up kind of hurting the game's sales because it released on old hardware. This is something we do still see to this day, because it's sometimes hard to jump a game up to the next console if it does have drastically different hardware. But yeah, because of that, like, I know the Completionist is kind of not well liked, and quite frankly, he did some terrible stuff, but I watched the completionist video on the first Shantae game. He actually said that the developers, the guys who made Shantae, actually still had like a bunch of the original Game Boy Color. Echo had a rocky start. But yes, it's always had a cult following because, again, well, I don't really like the first one very much because it very much feels like first game in a series in a lot of ways, and it's just frustratingly difficult in a lot of places. Not because it's genuinely difficult, per se, but...
This is our fault.
Yeah.
Fault? No.
And the Completionist getting exposed made me really sad. Used to... Same. Like, it just... The fate of normal boots in general just kind of made me sad, because it feels like Peanut Butter Gamer is the only one who wasn't involved in some type of controversy.
But the barrels arrived at the Winter Palace on the Inquisition supply manifest.
How are we supposed to fight a war when we can't even trust our own people?
Do you know who got the barrels onto the Inquisition manifest?
Yes, several of the Inquisition's elven workers have gone missing. I had their backgrounds checked. They joined the Inquisition after fleeing the chaos in Kirkwall.
I remember when Kirkwall was at its worst. Many of the city's elves converted to the Qun, trying to find a better life.
And the Qunari turned them into spies.
A few years ago, we railed at the mages at Redcliffe for becoming corrupt. We did the same to the Grey Wardens. Look at us now.
Hey, Jared was apparently not actually as guilty as people say. They sort of... Yeah, I was going to say that, but I just kind of got distracted. Yes, Jared did do some shady stuff, but he was able to prove that anything he did, he was mostly innocent in. Plus, he actually did take ownership of his bad decisions, so...
Do you know what this has cost us with Orlais and Ferelden? They are planning to dismantle us as we speak. And perhaps they are right.
Yeah. Because again, from what I remember from Jared's response video, he proved that the people who, like the underage people accusing him of sexual behavior, one, openly lied about their age repeatedly, and one, they never actually spoke. It was probably them just jumping on the cancel train for their 15 minutes of fame. As for, he did a successful YouTuber apology. He still uploads whatever he wants now, basically, rather than chasing views. Yeah, for real. And then like the accusation against him, like apparently like sexually harassing like a Playboy model who also had a Bayonetta cosplay. He didn't have like hard proof that, well, there wasn't any hard proof that he did in the first place, but he's like, here are the people who are all present and all of them have said that didn't happen.
It's been getting worse.
But I do seem to remember even he acknowledges that's a controversy. That's purely he said, she said. So make of that what you will.
What I do know is that the Kunari need to be stopped. So I need to get to the Davarad while I can still fight.
Thank you, Inquisitor.
Would you like us to inform the Exalted Council of the danger?
Yes. If we fail, the Exalted Council needs to know what happened.
I will inform them personally.
Leliana, I can...
No, your job is hard enough already. This is my responsibility.
I'll have guards ready at the Alluvion, in case the Kunari attack the palace.
Make a watch over you.
It is interesting having Liliana as the Divine, since, you know, she has to be here because your council is always here advising you, and with whether Vivian or Cassandra is the Divine. But I will admit, narratively speaking, it does make more sense if one of your other characters is the Divine, because it's like, how can the Divine keep sneaking away to have these... I mean, because it looks sussy as hell that the Divine is sneaking away. Luke, you sort of are lagging in your... You think... Oh, dear. That's not good. Like, my audio is lagging, or like the video itself is lagging? Because actually, I know I was bringing Cassandra, but I'm actually going to bring Blackwall for this next bit, because I love Blackwall. The whole thing... Really? Huh. Because it's still coming through fine on my end.
What happened with your hand?
I mean, I'm not saying I doubt you.
No matter what happens, it has been my honor to fight beside each of you.
Huh.
All right, Bianca. Let's show all the tall people how it's done. One last time.
It's not buffering at all on my end. I'm guessing it's a you or YouTube. Yeah, that's weird. That's very weird. Because again, I'm watching my stream on YouTube right now. That's actually how I'm keeping track of the chat. Because I know there's a better way of doing it, but I'm also doing it this way so I can try to keep track of, well, stuff like this. So it's like, I'm not sure what the actual problem would be, but it seems to have stopped for now. Okay. Well, let's hope we can get through this and, you know, beat the game before it completely
Destroy me while you can.
eats its face.
I expect you'll all miss me terribly later.
One more fight, then. Let's finish this.
The Davarad. All right, everyone, get ready.
Crap, sorry, I gotta go either way. It's been fun. Hey, I'm glad you could come at all. I do feel bad because you were like one of the people who have been heavily requesting Dragon Age the most. But because of when I can stream, you haven't been able to see very much of it. So I'm glad you could at least be here for part of this final Dragon Age Inquisition stream. Again, hopefully it's the last one. I really am hoping to get through. Just scheduling issues, I understand. Yeah.
The sooner we stop this invasion plan, the better.
So, about this war. You know things didn't end well for Kirkwall the last time the Qunari got angry. I really hope we settle this fast. I've seen all the burning cities I ever want to see.
Testify, Varric. Testify.
Guards on patrol. If we take them out one at a time, we might avoid raising the alarm.
Yeah, we could do that, or we could just set off this explosive.
Qunari have any idea what they're dealing with?
Probably not. That, or they probably don't care.
They don't.
Yeah, they probably don't know or they don't care. Let's be real.
Nothing.
That wasn't it.
Oh?
That didn't work.
Nothing. Nothing.
Is that an Astrarian? How did the Qunari move it here?
A word of advice, stay away from the glowing pyramid.
Dorian, do you know that's an OSHA violation to climb a ladder with something in your hand? Alright, I'm done. Moving on. Well, okay, no, hold on. It probably means it just I need to light the... I'll try lighting the deer next and go from there. If that still doesn't work, then we're moving on. Well, that appears to have done something. I'm not sure what it did, but it took this time. Ah. It's a shame Cole's not here.
That's it. Get them all like that and we're in.
Huh. Is there more wheels? Is there a way to move the right one without moving the left one? Ah, I see what the problem is. Here, let me get the one on the left in the right position, and then we can go from there. Wait a second. This is a not particularly intuitive puzzle, honestly.
Let's go.
Interesting. Seems like a really random place to be able to do this. Still not really better than the axe I got. Is it? Just sorry, I want to reconfirm that. Dorian, baby, drop the torch and start fighting.
Can you walk?
Yeah. Honestly, even if I masterworked that sword, it's very unlikely that it would give me anything better than what I've currently got.
You know, the Kunari sacked Kirkwall over just one book, and here we've got hundreds. What are all these? Research? Lists of the stuff they've dug up? Recipes for black powder, maybe?
Morrigan said the key to an Illuvian could be anything, including knowledge or power. So they're stockpiling both. That's how they got the keystone and opened so many of the Illuvians we've seen.
So they could also have other artifacts, magical traps, or elven weapons.
Oh yeah, we're kind of getting to the point that if Iron Bull had stayed at Kunari, he would have betrayed us here and would have had to have killed him.
Breath is an actual dragon?
Tethar, bars.
Inquisition! Nira Tasiasara! Miraba Sadim Kada!
Yeah, Iron Bull would have...
far enough, Inquisitor. No more.
Yeah, if Iron Bull had stayed at Kunari, he would have come... If he was in my party, he would have turned on us. If he wasn't in my party, he would have come out of a side passage and been like, "Sorry, boss, but it's time to die," or whatever. I don't remember exactly what he says. Maybe I should have... Well, no. Dorian can dispel barriers. At the same time, like, oh, maybe I should have brought Cassandra instead. Just so we could have the Templar magic debuffing ability, since... Didn't think about it. Blackwell and I were both champions, so... We both bring the same skill set to this fight. You know, thinking about it, this DLC kind of reminds me of Awakening in a sense, as in that it's a DLC that is post the main story. But unlike Awakening, I like this one a lot because it does feel like a natural expansion of the story, and it's not broken as fuck. Again, I acknowledge part of the problem was probably just the Xbox 360 version was just more unstable, and that's the only version of Awakening I've played. But I still do greatly prefer this DLC to anything.
Too dangerous. We can't let the Canary keep it.
This dragon's in bad shape. Seems like kicking a wounded puppy, you know, the giant fire-breathing kind.
I'm not... Hold on, how am I... Hold on, what... Sorry, just... I'm looking this up real quick. Okay. Nope.
We will not let you cut down the Ataki.
Hold on.
Opening.
The gate is ready. Now we have to clear a path.
What does that mean? Hey, Rosie. Well, it's stressing me out. I'm not sure what the fuck. I still need to do. And now that, because I don't know what position these stupid torches need to be in. So I don't want to kill the dragon if I don't have to. And I can't really get a clear answer from the internet what I'm supposed to do to help the dragon here. Okay. Okay, at least it worked eventually. I'll take it. It's time to Hadok. Oh, by the way, also, how are you, Rosie?
Little time left. You must finally see the truth. Elven magic already tore the sky apart. If the agents of Fen Harel are not stopped, you will shatter the world as well.
Did you have to fight Iron Bull here, or did you have him on your side? No, I didn't have to fight Iron Bull. I'm good. Just checking back from walking. My dog is very windy and rainy. Oh, no.
The Inquisition has nothing to do with these agents.
Come, Inquisitor. I am the eyes and ears of the Qunari people. Do you think you can deceive me? You would have died from the mark on your hand, but for the help of one of their chief agents. The same agent who helped seal the breach, who led you to Skyhold, who gave Corypheus the orb, then founded the Inquisition. Soulless, agent of Fen Harel.
Damn it, Chuckles. What have you done?
Solus is an agent of Fen Harel.
Did you not know? We thought you were his ally. Solus tricked us all. He pushed a dying Qunari into the Winter Palace to lure you into opposing us. Without him, we could have brought the South peace and wisdom along the gentle path. Now we must take the way of blades.
So is it like always windy and rainy in Scotland, or just this time of year?
Solus will not outlive you.
That's why Solus left. He's been helping us fight the Qunari all this time. We have to save him.
You did get two. Okay. Good. Around this time, it rains all the time. I was hoping for snow, but I'm not sure if we'll get it. Yeah, I used to love snow, but now that I work in construction, I really have grown to dislike wanting snow. Well, I've grown to dislike wanting rain, because more often than not, we still have to be out working in it. Oh, yeah, that makes total sense. Yeah.
The Vidasala can't be far.
There, up ahead.
It's weird that we're almost done with Inquisition, since, like I said at the start of the stream, besides the Baldur's Gate 3 live stream, this might be the longest stream series that I've done. And again, I know that I think maybe Tales of Symphonia might have had an equal number of episodes, but I streamed Tales of Symphonia when I didn't have as much time, or, well, when I was still streaming, like, in the afternoons, because I was still working the job I really liked. Whereas now, I mean, how do I put this? Ever since I switched to streaming week in the mornings, I have had time to do longer streams. I just haven't had as much time to stream as a whole. Because, anyway, point I'm getting at is that Tales of Symphonia might have a similar number numerically to this one and Baldur's Gate 3, but these streams were consistently longer than any time I streamed Tales of Symphonia. I mean, hell, there were 23 or 24 of the Baldur's Gate 3 streams, and I didn't even beat Baldur's Gate 3 because I had to call it quits. So that one would have been even longer. And let's be real, if I ever end up streaming Xenoblade Chronicles X for Edgelord, I think without question that's going to be the longest stream series in the channel's history, because that game is stuffed. And it's a hard, because like, for games like Skyrim and whatnot, there are instances where I was like, okay, it was kind of an instance like, okay, let's just beat the game. And that's just because Xenoblade Chronicles X has a level, and that's because Skyrim had a level scaling system. So for the most part, you could handle most of the challenges at any point in the game, but with Xenoblade, no, it's just traditional RPG leveling. Let's see, it's easy to sink so many hours into games like these if you're not exclusively just following the main story, for real. But it's also like, in a game like Dragon Age, I mean, I'm playing on casual, so it'd be even more imperative on harder difficulties. You kind of want to sink all these hours into it, otherwise you're going to be potentially struggling, because you're going to be under-leveled, or you're not going to have the gear you need to... Okay, that was not the way. Hey, Inquisitor, you're not Elphaba. Please stop trying to defy gravity. Oh yeah, I am going to go see Wicked for Good tomorrow, so I'm looking forward to that. Today is Friday, right? Yeah, today's Friday. Oh yeah. Rosie, you're not a member of our Discord, are you, by chance? I still need to watch the first Wicked movie. I liked it. It's not as I thought the Okay, so just so you're aware, it's on Discord, Twitter, and I even wait. Hold on, let me confirm that. I think I posted it to. It is also on our YouTube posts. As of right now, I've currently got a poll going. To determine which starter Pokemon Edgelord will use in Pokemon Legends ZA. So yeah, we always invite everyone who enjoys our videos to partake in those polls when they go up. But yeah, I just asked if you, just because the Discord is usually the place it goes up first. But yeah, there are other ways of accessing it, if that's something you'd be interested in voting on. Because the game that Edgelord's going to be playing after Persona 3 Reload is going to be Pokemon Legends ZA. And then after I beat that game, then I will be doing an actual legit poll to determine what the next game that we'll play after that is. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. We still have so much of Persona 3 Reload to get through. Let's see, yeah, oh, look at it. I love Pokemon. I just finished Legends EA recently, so I'd like to watch a playthrough of that. Sweet. Again, I don't know when, because again, we still have so much of Persona 3 Reload to get through. I can't really say definitively when that stream will actually get started, because we're still in October currently in Persona 3, and I think the game goes until... Abby told me that like the climax of the game takes place in January, but the game itself I think goes until April. But Abby did say that she thinks that the January to April stuff is fast tracked. But yeah, but still, yeah. Yeah, I actually haven't beaten Legends yet, because shortly after Legends came out, because I've been playing Digimon Story Time Stranger, or I haven't actually been able to touch it for a while, since Abby and I have been so busy working on getting through Persona 3 in our spare time. But yeah, it's like, it came out, but I'm like, but I'm still playing Digimon. And then Kirby Air Riders came out, and I'm like, shit, I gotta play Kirby Air Riders on my Switch in my free time, because I've been waiting for a sequel to Kirby Air Ride to come out for 21 years, and while I love Pokemon, like, despite all of its flaws, I absolutely love the Pokemon games. We've been getting a new Pokemon game every couple of years, so there's been less of a dry spell. I really struggle with the final fight. I feel that the Legend games are considerably tougher mainline series, which I agree with, but I'm guessing it's not very used to the challenge in Pokemon games anymore. Yeah, that is also true. Like, so something that Abby and I do for the Edgelord Pokemon streams is that I low-key stroke. Oh wait, yeah, that's already message already read. Is that Abby will actually decide ahead of time which team of Pokemon Edgelord should use, partially to try to get me to use Pokemon I might not have ever used before, or get me to use Pokemon I've never used before. Like, just for example, the list that Abby has drawn up for me for Pokemon Legends EA includes, I forget its evolved form name, but the evolved form of Skrelp, which admittedly is a Pokemon I've always wanted to use, but just never have. So it's like, perfect, I'm going to force you to use it this time. Well, provided, of course, Totodile doesn't win. Because if Totodile wins the poll, which he's probably not going to, because he's currently losing in the poll by quite a bit, I will use Scraggle. If he wins, I won't use Skrelp, but if he does, if he wins, I won't use Skrelp, because Totodile will be my Dragon Water Pokemon, but if Totodile doesn't win, then I will use a Skrelp. That shouldn't have been as hard to say. Or then another example, if Chikorita wins, or Hippowdon is on the list as well. And Abby and I kind of determined, it's like, I know it's not a perfect equivalent, but if Chikorita wins, then I won't use the Hippowdon, because there wasn't a grass type on the list to replace. Because, like, Abby wants Edgelord to use a Houndoom, because I think I used one once a long time ago, but it's been a while. So, yeah, but if Tepig wins, which Tepig is in second place, but it's still, like, Chikorita is still overwhelmingly winning at this point, then I will use Tepig instead of Houndoom. But, yeah. Now, admittedly, there are some Pokemon games, like when I do finally get to streaming Scarlet, the team Abby came up with for Edgelord, it's like, no, there's specific water and fire Pokemon that Abby really wants Edgelord to use in those games. So, much like how Edgelord just used a Score Bunny in Sword and Shield, Edgelord is just going to use a Sprigato. No vote. Let's see. Skrelp does lose his water typing when he evolves, which I forget all the time. Oh, for real. I did know that, but it's like, he'll still know some water moves, so it'll count. Plus, yeah, no, just, he does. It's because, like, for example, in Pokemon Legends Arceus, I didn't actually have a water Pokemon on my party. I used a Hisuian Quillfish, and which then used an Overquill. And yeah, it's dark, and that one was Dark Poison, I think. But it could still learn water moves, so I still used it as my water coverage. Yeah, I know the resistances and the stab aren't there, but still. It is one of those that, again, the idea is I'm trying to use Pokemon that I don't normally use, because I would never have used it. Well, that, and also it's like, okay, Hisuian Quillfish. This is probably the only game you're going to have access to this carrot version, so you gotta use it. That's another reason why Abby also gave me a, and yes, I know that you can get the Hisuian Pokemon in other games now, but you get the idea. Like, that's why she had me use a Cleavor as well, because again, that's a Hisuian specific Pokemon. But yeah. But she didn't have me use, like, Hisuian Arcanine, because I've used a regular Arcanine before. I didn't use a Hisuian Lilligant, because I already had, my starter was, Rowlet, so I already had a grass type. Yeah, I usually try to and get as much coverage as I can as well. Yeah, for real. Like, and that's the thing. Abby, like, at first Abby was kind of like, let's do more gimmick teams. But then when I had to go against her list for when I did stream Pokemon Shining Pearl, like, again, she made up a list for me, and I actually ended up ignoring the list a little bit. Not completely. I still used 4 of the 6 Pokemon she picked for me, but I ended up having to drop, because, like, one of the Pokemon she wanted me to use was Luxray, because I've never used one before. But the problem that I ran into is that Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, well, Luxray does not learn very good moves for the stats that it learns in Shining Pearl, meaning that it was kind of somewhat dead weight for me during the late stages of the game, and it just kept dying. So I'm like, honey, I love you. I wanted to respect your, you know, what you drew up, but I dropped it for an Altaria because I'm like, I need something that can take down the Cynthia's Garchomp, and yeah, the Altaria was instrumental in taking down Garchomp. I then was also supposed to use an Octillery, because Octillery has the Octozooka ability, and since Edgelord loves their guns, it was perfect. However, I let someone in the chat kind of pressure me into using a Gastrodon instead during the finale, even though I raised them both up and swapped between them, and, well, the Gastrodon ended up saving my ass. So, and again, because I didn't realize just how difficult Cynthia, like, the Elite Four hasn't been as difficult in recent games, but shit, the Elite Four, specifically Cynthia, was, like, brutal in Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. So it's one of those, like, okay, sorry, honey, I am going to have to forego your list a little bit. Now, I did still end up using a Shieldon, because I had never used that before. I'm like, I really kind of want to, but that might have been a mistake, because, wow, Shieldon kind of sucks. I mean, again, it's not the worst Pokemon I've ever used. Let's see. Oh, yeah, I actually heard those games were quite difficult. I never finished it because it was... Oh, yeah. My team was quite bad because I wasn't expecting the challenge. No, that's an issue I had as well. Like, case in point, just another example, in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, my team sucks. Like, for the most part, it sucks really badly. Like, so when I did the DLC that adds a whole new Elite Four, like, the main game I did just fine in, but then when I went up against the Elite Four in the DLC, I got creamed. Well, I almost got completely creamed because of how difficult it was. And my Pokemon choices were kind of shit. Because, like, I've always liked Tauros. So when I found out that Scarlet's Tauros had a fire fighting variant, I'm like, that's going to be my fire type. It doesn't really learn that great moves. And I don't know if it's just my Tauros had not a great nature, but yeah, Tauros did, like, jack shit during that Elite Four fight. Like, he couldn't do anything. Then, because early in the game I was able to get a Frostmoth with a Terrestrialization I liked for it. Like, I had no intention of using a Frostmoth or Frostmith, because I'd used one in Sword, but I used it again, and oh my god, Frostmith is so squishy and so slow. I don't think it got a single hit off during the fight with the DLC champion. It was pretty bad. Like, the only reason I survived is because I ended up using a Garchomp in that playthrough, which I had actually completely forgotten that I'd used a Garchomp in it. What was my full team? I had a Meowscarade, because Sprigato was easily my favorite starter that gen. Let's see, I had a Sprigato, I had a Garchomp, Tauros, Frostmith, Kilowattrel, what was my water type? Oh, and Palafin. That was my water type. Yeah. So, Palafin definitely helped as well. Yeah, I think, like, because Tauros and Frostmoth were sadly just dead weight during that Elite Four fight. Kilowattrel got some shots in because it's because of just how fast it was, but it certainly was not, you know, dishing out the damage, which, yeah. And again, I know Kilowattrel's maybe isn't that great, but I actually was lucky enough to catch a Kilowattrel by complete accident within, like, the first 30 minutes of gameplay, and I'm like, shit, I guess I'll use it now, because I like Kilowattrel, because it's a new bird, because I've always liked the regional birds, even if I've never really used any of them besides Starly. But Kilowattrel ended up becoming, like, my new favorite electric type, which said a lot, because before that, and again, I know that it's my favorite electric type before Kilowattrel was Helioptile, and I know that one's not an amazing Pokemon, but I like it. So it's like, shit, you actually managed to possibly dethrone a favorite Pokemon of mine. Oh, and yeah, going back to Legends, like, the reason why, like, again, with either using Hisuian forms, Abby didn't have me use a Hisuian Braviary or a Hisuian Sneasel because I have used those Pokemon a lot, actually. Well, I've only used a Braviary twice, and one was during a Nuzlocke, and he kind of sucked in that. But Sneasel, in particular, was my favorite Pokemon for years. I used one in my original playthrough, Silver and Gold. Excuse me, excuse me. Sorry. Allergies. Love the design for Hisuian Zoroark. Oh, and yeah, I used a Hisuian Zoroark as well. I did a shiny one with... Oh, that's cool. Yes, yeah, that was another one of my Pokemon, was a Hisuian Zoroark. The original plan was that I was supposed to use a Spiritomb, but then when we realized it was still a pain in the ass to get, Abby's like, let's give you something that's a little easier to get. So we went with Zoroark instead, which I was grateful for, because I liked Hisuian Zoroark. And, well, I have used a regular Zoroark. I only used it once. But yeah, Sneasel was my favorite Pokemon for years. Used it in Gen 2. I traded one into my Ruby when, in one of my playthroughs of Ruby, I made sure to trade in a Sneasel from my a leaf green so I could use it from the get-go. I used one in the original Diamond and Pearl. And while I didn't have the right nature, the right moves for my Sneasel in that game to be great, it did, just because it's typing, was a pain in the ass for my friend's Dialgas, since it was part ice, you know? But yeah, I've used Sneasel a lot. And I was kind of ashamed, like, but I like Sneasler's design better than Weavile's. Can't I use Sneasler? And Abby's like, no, you used one plenty. Granted, well, I love Sneasler's design better than Weavile, and I even like Hisui and Sneasel's design a lot. I don't like its typing as much. Mostly because, another one of my favorite Pokemon is Toxicroak, which is also a poison fighting. And since both Toxicroak and Hisui and Sneasel are the same typing, it's like I couldn't use it. I feasibly couldn't use them both in the same game, you know? Oh shit, did I just beat it? I thought there was going to be a little more. This DLC didn't take as long as I thought it would, but I also admit I wasn't exactly being completely thorough either.
Ebesit kata, etwa ost.
Maraskata.
Your forces have failed. Leave now and tell the Canary to trouble me no further.
I love that outfit for Solus.
Solus.
I'm gonna say he's low-key drippy in this scene. I know one Pokemon I was sad that I didn't get to use in Sword was Dragapult, because again it's a dragon that's a cannon, but Abby had a good reason. Sorry, but
I suspect you have questions.
So many.
The Kunari believe you're an agent for someone who has taken the name Fen'Harel.
The Canary reject myth and legend. If you told them of your meeting with Mythor, they would attribute it to a demon. I am no one's agent but my own. I fear that the truth is much simpler and much worse than the Canary believe.
You're Fen'Harel.
I was Solus first. Fen'Harel came later. An insult I took as a badge of pride. The Dread Wolf inspired hope in my friends, and fear in my enemies. Not unlike Inquisitor, I suppose. And now you know. What is the old Baelish curse? May the Dread Wolf take you?
Our legends about you are wrong. I saw the truth as we traveled the crossroads.
You saw another story, written in desperation to give me more credit than I ever deserved.
If you had just told me.
Then you would carry the same burden I do.
I want to. Magellana Venan.
I sought to set my people free from slavery to would-be gods. I broke the chains of all who wished to join me. The false gods called me Fen'Harel, and when they finally went too far, I formed the Veil and banished them forever. Thus I freed the Elven people, and in so doing, destroyed their world.
You love the Fade. Why would you create the Veil to hide it all away?
Because every alternative was worse.
Meaning?
Had I not created the Veil, the Evanurus would have destroyed the entire world.
You banished the false gods. You didn't kill them.
You met Mythal, did you not? The first of my people do not die so easily. The Evanuris are banished forever, paying the ultimate price for their misdeeds.
You said that the elven gods went too far. What did they do that made you move against them?
They killed Mythal. Crime for which an eternity of torment is the only fitting punishment.
I thought Mythal was one of the Evanuris.
She was the best of them. She cared for her people. She protected them. She was a voice of reason. And in their lust for power, they killed her.
How did creating the Veil destroy the world?
You saw the remains of Via de Thara. The library was intrinsically tied to the Fade, and the Veil destroyed it. There were countless other marvels, all dependent on the presence of the Fade, all destroyed. Your legends are half right. We were immortal. It was not the arrival of humans that caused us to begin aging. It was me. The Veil took everything from the elves.
And this is why I believe Solus is actually the maker in the Chantry myth, because technically speaking, he did make the world that the humans in the Chantry have thrived under. I don't know if it's like actually confirmed by BioWare if he is actually the maker in Chantry lore, but that's my headcanon, and I'm gonna stick with it unless I see some compelling evidence, you know? That's the same reason why I also think Mythal is actually, like, Andraste is actually Mythal.
The Evanuris were elven mages. How did they come to be remembered as gods?
Slowly. It started with a war. War breeds fear. Fear breeds a desire for simplicity. Good and evil, right and wrong, chains of command. After the war ended, generals became respected elders, then kings, finally gods. The Evanuris.
That's the past. What about the future?
I lay in dark and dreaming sleep while countless wars and ages passed. I woke still weak a year before I joined you. My people fell for what I did to strike the Evanuris down. But still, some hope remains for restoration. I will save the elven people, even if it means this world must die.
Why does this world have to die for the elves to return?
A good question, but not one I will answer. You have always shown a thoughtfulness I respected. It would be too easy to tell you too much. I am not Corypheus. I take no joy in this, but the return of my people means the end of yours. It is my fight. You should be more concerned about the Inquisition, your Inquisition. In stopping the Dragon's Breath, you have prevented an invasion by Qunari forces. With luck, they will return their focus to Tevinter. That should give you a few years of relative peace.
The Qunari said the Inquisition was unknowingly working for agents of Fen'Harel.
I gave no orders.
You led us to Skyhold.
Corypheus should have died unlocking my orb. When he survived, my plans were thrown into chaos. When you survived, I saw the Inquisition as the best hope this world had of stopping him. And you needed a home. Hence, Skyhold.
You gave your orb to Corypheus?
Not directly. My agents allowed the Venatori to locate it. The orb had built up magical energy while I lay unconscious for millennia. I was not powerful enough to open it. The plan was for Corypheus to unlock it, and for the resulting explosion to kill him. Then I would claim the orb. I did not foresee a Tevinter Magister having learned the secret of effective immortality.
What would have happened if Corypheus had died, and you'd recovered the orb?
I would have entered the Fade using the mark you now bear. Then I would have torn down the veil. As this world burned in the raw chaos, I would have restored the world of my time. The world of the elves.
If you destroyed the veil, wouldn't the false gods be freed?
I had plans.
I never thought of you as someone who would do that, Solus.
Thank you. You must understand. I awoke in a world with a veil that blocked most people's conscious connection to the Fade. It was like walking through a world of tranquil.
We aren't even people to you.
Not at first. You showed me that I was wrong. Again. That does not make what must come next any easier.
Whatever your reasons, we couldn't have defeated Corypheus without you.
Your doubts are misplaced. Everything you accomplished, you earned.
What's wrong with the Inquisition?
You created a powerful organization. And now it suffers the inevitable fate of such. Betrayal and corruption.
It's not that simple.
Do you know how I discovered the Canary plot? The plot I disrupted by leading them to your doorstep. The Canary spies in the Inquisition tripped over my spies in the Inquisition. The Elven Guard who led you to the Canary body? Who intercepted the servant with the Gatlock barrel? Mine.
Why bother disrupting the Kunari plot if you're going to destroy the world regardless?
You have shown me that there is value in this world, Inquisitor. I take no joy in what I must do. Until that day comes, I would see those recovering from the breach free of the Qun.
Why?
Because I am not a monster. If they must die, I would rather they die in comfort. In any event, it is done.
I guess we owe you for that one too.
I hope it gives your people some final peace.
You control the Illuvians now.
Yes. You remember Briala from Halam Shiral? For a time, she controlled part of the labyrinth. One of my agents was supposed to take it from her, but he did not succeed. I had to override the magic personally. The Canary stumbled upon this section independently. With them gone, the Illuvians are now mine.
There's still the matter of the anchor. It's getting worse.
I know, Venan. And we are running out of time. The mark will eventually kill you. Drawing you here gave me the chance to save you. At least for now.
Solus. Varla vir Suladin.
I wish it could, Venan. My love. I will never forget you.
And again, something I do really like is it's written well. A villain who thinks what he's doing has to be done does lead to great storytelling and great drama, which is why I do love the Solus redemption arc, because he finally learns he doesn't have to do this. Yeah. That's already a little more spoiler for Veilguard than I'd like to share, but
we cannot lose the Inquisition now. We stand on the brink of war with the Canary.
Oh, great.
Yes, because this Solus provoked them in the first place.
The Inquisition did not cause this threat. We informed the Summit of the danger.
The danger posed by Canary spies inside your organization.
Without our organization, you would not be alive to complain.
No one has forgotten what you have done. But Corypheus is 2 years dead.
If the Inquisition is to continue, it must do so as a legitimate organization, not a glorified mercenary band.
Which is fair.
Inquisitor.
You all know what this is? A writ from Divine Justinia authorizing the formation of the Inquisition. We pledge to close the breach, find those responsible, and restore order, with or without anyone's approval. We have fulfilled that pledge. And now the war is over, for most of us. It is time for our soldiers to sheathe their swords and go home. To all who served, thank you. It has been an honor. Effective immediately, the Inquisition is disbanded.
No, not really. I actually prefer keeping it going, but I've never disbanded it before, so I kind of wanted to do that this time. Especially since the developer headcanon is that they disband anyway, so why not? No, I prefer keeping the Inquisition together, honestly. You know, I will admit it's a lot funnier to see Varric handing the book to Cassandra as the Divine, because it's really funny to think that the Divine is basically reading spicy literature. I love this ending shot. But no, again, just to reiterate, I do prefer keeping the Inquisition together. Oh, wow. No, for real? We have been getting... Oh. Wait, is the sound glitching out? Yeah, of course I did. Fuck you, Vivian. Yeah, because that's not going to push people to blood magic. Just trying to outdo each other. Yeah, well, fuck them. There's definitely some truth to that mindset. Wait. I guess that's what Endangered was talking about with her ending up. This is what Endangered was talking about. Sarah getting with Harding, but it's like Huh. About Sarah possibly ending up with Harding. Good for you, Bull. Good for you. Good for you, Colin. Good luck, my friend. Well, as we see in Veilguard, he does seem to do pretty well at it. Good for you. That sounds like something her sister would do. Good for you, Cole. Good for you, Cole. This also feels like a forgotten or a retcon from in Veilguard, because when we finally get to Veilguard, we see that Solus is basically working alone. There is no like massive elven force. And given that yep. Because, again, given the fact that we know for a fact that Veilguard was heavily rewritten, like, in fact, one of the reasons the game took so long is because BioWare threw out everything they had made and made them start from scratch. It does make me wonder if the original plan was that Solus was going to be a straight-up villain in the fourth game and be the final boss, and you would have had to have fought an elven army. But they pivoted gears to focus more on the...
My agents have found nothing. With the Illuvians, he could be anywhere.
With the Inquisition officially disbanded, we have no army, no formal alliances.
We have what we truly need.
We will need to be careful.
Solus knows everything about us. Who we are, how we work, our strengths and weaknesses.
Then we find people he doesn't know. We will save our friend from himself. If we can.
You kind of tore the map, Inquisitor. Dick move. And that's the thing, you can absolutely feel the love in this game, despite all of its flaws. I'm not saying Veilguard wasn't made with love, but it was not the baby of the writer. Because, again, basically everyone from BioWare who wrote on Dragon Age was gone by the time Veilguard was finished. So you don't have that same feeling of them wanting to see their baby succeed. So yeah, that is it. We are now done with Dragon Age Inquisition, and it's... I like Veilguard. That's the honest truth. I had fun with Veilguard. But it is sad to know that there is a chance that because Veilguard didn't live up to the hype, we might not ever get another Dragon Age game again. Anyway, like I said, I'm going to be breaking my schedule a little bit because I want to quickly play Yuka Replayly for the channel. I don't know if I'm going to 100% beat that game entirely or just play it for a bit just to showcase it and then move on to Great Time and Hots, actually. Got to go for my driving lessons in a few. That's good. But yeah, I'm going to do Yuka Replayly again. I don't know if I'll do a full playthrough or just play it a bit to kind of show it off because of how much I appreciate Yooka-Laylee as a series. And then after that, like I said, it will be a Tales game. Then I believe next, I need to double check, I believe next will be a Sonic game. And then a fan service game, and then we will finally get back to Veilguard. We're probably... I don't know if we're going to do... If Abby and I are going to end up doing a Edgelord stream later today. Because yesterday was Thanksgiving here in America, Abby didn't really have time to do any of the grinding that needed to be done. So the next Edgelord stream might not be till Sunday, but I'll do a stream tomorrow morning, and I'll do a stream on Sunday. And then after that, well, it's back to work. But I'll still get plenty of time. But come Christmas time, I'll have some more days off, so there'll be a lot more streams during the week then. But for now, I'm not sure when, but I'll see you guys then. Have a good rest of your week and day and year. Bye-bye.